Ontario is rolling out a new testing plan today. In Ottawa, MPs are working on what the future of Parliament will look like, and the Prime Minister is now promising paid sick leave for all. With a closer look at all these headlines this week in politics, we're joined by the Globe and Mail's Laura Stone. Good morning to you, Laura.
Good morning, Ben.
Okay, so let's talk about this new COVID-19 testing strategy that's going to be unveiled later today.
That's right. Well, we've seen Ontario struggle a bit with reaching their 20,000 capacity here in Ontario, 20,000 tests a day. So this strategy looks to broaden the people who will be tested for COVID-19. We heard Premier Doug Ford over the weekend say that anyone can now go to an assessment center and get tested, even if you don't have symptoms. This new strategy will also focus on high-risk groups such as truck drivers, taxi drivers, people working in manufacturing plants, and others working in congregate settings. And we also know that the province is looking to hone in on some of the so-called hotspots of COVID-19, which are primarily in the Greater Toronto area and also in Southern Ontario. So we expect the strategy will focus on that, and this is really a bid for Ontario to boost those testing numbers.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like a new gambit, a new a pivot, a new focus for testing to try to get ahead of the virus by learning the way it's spreading. So if this pays off, it could be a really big change for the province of Ontario. It's seen high numbers over the past few days. Let's move on to the Liberals, who have put forward a motion outlining, rather the federal Liberals, who put forward a motion outlining how they believe Parliament should proceed during the pandemic. Talk to me about where the parties stand on this.
Well, the Liberals have pitched a kind of hybrid situation in the House of Commons, which would call for some in-person MPs sitting in the chamber, as well as a digital component. So we'd have the House of Commons with just a few MPs in person, still practicing that physical distancing, and then others would be beamed in, joined virtually by screens. The Liberals have proposed 4 days a week of this until mid-June, and then just 4 sessions over the summer. This appears to be supported by the NDP, and the Liberals only need one other party to support them. The Conservatives, however, have repeatedly said this isn't good enough. They're pushing for more in-person sittings and not a special committee, which is what the Liberals are proposing, but actual real resumption of the House of Commons. They say this is necessary, that the Parliament is essential, and they need to hold the government to account. So they will be deciding on this later today, but the Liberals do appear to have enough support for their proposal.
All right, let's move on to the Prime Minister specifically. He announced that Ottawa will work with the provinces and territories to ensure 10 paid sick days per year for every Canadian worker. Is it going to be hard to get the provinces and territories on board with this?
Well, we know for sure that British Columbia is on board because the Prime Minister talked yesterday about this proposal actually being pitched by BC Premier John Horgan. You know, we've seen, surprisingly, over this pandemic, the provinces and the federal government really try to work together for the greater good of the country. And so we've seen kind of a lot less of this infighting between the provinces and Ottawa. We don't know whether all of the premiers are on board for this, but I do think that the Prime Minister will be speaking with the provinces about this and will be pushing this because this is what the NDP, the federal NDP, had asked for in exchange for their support for the Liberals' plan in Parliament. So I think it's in the federal government's interest to push for this. How long that will take and whether one of the premiers will hold out, we don't know at this point, but we have seen a lot of cooperation among the provinces and the federal government up until now.
Laura Stone, thank you for always keeping us up to date. We appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.